Hey, everybody, this is Mark.
This is Justin.
And I'm Zach.
And this is Awkward Fist Bump Productions. Boom. That was like a palm, Zach.
Yeah.
It's an awkward fist bump.
Yeah.
Gotta rotate every now and
You
then.
don't get much more awkward than that, you know?
Yeah.
Let's start throwing elbows next time.
Dude,
A taped elbow, too. It's not even skin.
Fist bump.
Well, hey, everybody. Today we have a great guest. So, for the three people that actually watched 60 Days In Narcoland, you might recognize.
I knew you were going to throw a finger on me. Yeah. Oh, man.
And listen, this is not a bash on 60 Days In Narcoland, because I've actually talked to Richie. Man, we've been friends for, I guess, over a year now, it seems like. And so a lot of y'all that tune in because, or you subscribe because you were a fan of the show, there was a lot of hate that was given to my boy Richie. It's not his fault today, and he came up with a stupid ass idea that didn't pan out. So don't blame the participants, dude. But
it's not the first one. Think you're a super fan.
Yeah, I know, right?
And some people's only redeeming quality is that they're conservative. So in the grand scheme of things,
that was funny, dude. Because like during our season, you had David, police officer. I'm
the lead enforcer of the Chicanos.
And then you had Brooke, right-wing conservative. I'm like, Jesus. And then for me, you had Superfan. I'm like, okay, like there's so much more to me than that. But anyway, but one thing I think a lot of y'all don't realize is because it's such a small group, an alumni group, I guess you can say, of 60 Days In people, we pretty much all become friends. So when 60 Days In Narcoland, the Tony or Oscar worthy spectacle that came on, we reached out, and me and Richie have been friends ever since, man. And I wanted to bring Richie onto the episode because, first of all, he's just awesome.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. And then, everything with our channel up to this point has been, guests and talking about facilities and criminal justice system and stuff like that. And if you were one of the other people that watch the show, not the three people that watch it, you'll know that Richie actually has a great history. I mean, he is a recovery advocate. And what I mean by recovery, if you don't understand the terminology, is people that have drugs, that do drugs and whatnot. He helps them find recovery. He helps get them into rehab. And there was actually a guy that went viral. I don't know, maybe what was it, about 3 or 4 months ago, if not a little bit longer. And Richie was the one, and I'll let him tell you all about it. But Richie was the one that stepped in and found a recovery center that was willing to take him. And not only were they willing to take him, he was able to generate a scholarship for the guy. So because drug use is so rampant, especially in the criminal justice, the criminal justice community, or should I say the inmates, definitely wanted to bring Richie on and have Richie, just talk to us. So Richie, what's going on, bruh?
Thank you for having me on, man. It's a pleasure. And, like you said, we've been friends for about a year now. When I first, I guess like the show was just about to come out, and Mark, being the super fan that he is, did some real deep detective work and figured out like who I was and that I was going to be on the show somehow. And I get this message from this guy like, "Hey, you're on the show, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Call me. I got to tell you some stuff." And he gave me some good tips and tricks and pointers about, what to expect being on TV and going through the process and dealing with, different people that shall remain unnamed.
Well, he's such a super fan that he just gets emailed a list of every single person that's going to be on 60 Days In.
Yep.
Actually, y'all would be surprised how easy it is to find out. The way I found out about one of his other co-stars was if you go to the A&E Facebook page when they start announcing stuff and you click on that little shares button, you can do some detective work easily. And you click, because it'll show you everybody that shared from the Facebook page. And so I was able to track down a few people that way, because what it wasn't necessarily the participant, but maybe one of the participants' friends shared the A&E Facebook post, and they're like,
their friend.
"Richie, what's up, dog?" And I'm like, "Hey, I bet that's Richie. And I don't know how it was in your case. I think that was with the other person, one of your other co-stars. But yeah, it's actually pretty. It's not hard. The detective work is not that hard. So, but thanks, man. Thanks, Richie. And as Richie said, ever since then we've been friends. So, dude, tell us what you do. What is your mission?
Yeah, so like Mark mentioned, I'm in recovery. I've actually been clean from heroin. It'll be 6 years in November. So we're coming up on 6 years, and that time's kind of flown by. In the past 6 years, things have happened in my life that I never would have thought possible. Especially like I was a full-blown heroin addict, like you see on TV, like you picture, right? Like I was shooting, up to 1 gram, 2 grams, sometimes 3 grams of heroin every single day, for months and months at a time. And my story started a lot like most people across America, and that was with prescription painkillers. I broke my arm. Let me see if I can get this in. I broke my arm. I got a plate and screws put in here during a football injury. They gave me the pills. I went from being an all-American kid, won a state title in track, played football, honor roll student, all that. Addicted to pills for a few years, and then eventually I turned to heroin, and I, put the needle in my veins. So I try and help as many people as I can, the same way that, I was helped, especially, 6-7 years ago when I was struggling with this stuff. Nobody was talking about it. I wanted to get clean, but I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to turn to. My mom didn't know who to turn to. And that's what I try and be today, is just somebody people can turn to figure out, hey, what's my next step? What's my first step to get clean?
And that is an amazing story, bro. I mean, to go from drug addict, stuck on heroin, to recovery advocate, TV star. I know, and I'll let you tell us about it here in just a second. But he's filming something right now that hopefully will be picked up by the production or by some of the major networks. I mean, dude, your story is phenomenal, and I hope that if you're watching this episode and maybe you're struggling with drugs, there is hope, man. And at the end of this, and at the bottom, at the description below our video, we're definitely going to say, hey, this is how you get in touch with Richie. So if you're having issues, call Richie, definitely. But first thing I want to say after just doing the introduction, and then we'll get down to the questions, is we now are sponsored. So if you would like to help out the show, and you are a big supporter of the Second Amendment, like I think at least 2 of us here are. I'm not sure how many of the. Well, I think we're all sponsored, like huge fans of the Second Amendment, but in some cases,
we want to protect ourselves. Some of us might not be able to.
Yes, I'm not allowed to own a gun, like ever.
Ever. Actually, you have a right to a bare arm. I don't. My arm's a little skinny.
So what I'm going to tell you is I'm giving this business a lot of business. See, that was actually okay. Anyway, sorry, that was a dad joke. Sorry. Because if you come into my house, it's not, are you going to get shot? It's which gun am I going to shoot you with? But we're sponsored by the National Concealed Carry Association. Guys, if you're a big supporter of the Second Amendment, you're needing some swag for your stuff, definitely go to them. The link will be at the bottom.
And it gives you 10% off as well. Just that way everybody knows you click the link, it gives you 10% off every single thing in the store that is regular price. I couldn't get a sale discount, which would have been super awesome, but got you guys a nice little discount code.
There you go.
There you go.
And that guy right there, he's the yin to my yang. I think that's what Abner said on the final episode where we were sitting at that bar. This guy's the yin to my yang, and he's the yang to my yin. And I don't know what you are, Richie. We'll figure that out later. Yeah. Dude, we just lost
that bridge when we come to it.
That's awesome. He literally dropped the mic and left.
That's crazy.
But so, all right. So you just saw someone quit live on the Awkward Fist Bump show. That's great. He didn't say anything. He just dropped the mic.
He was like, I'm done. I'm done.
Dude, I was complimenting him at the same time. The yin to my yang. Oh, well. But anyway, so well, actually, I've already asked you a question, so I'll let Justin go because I'm sure he's got some questions for you. Because Justin, he did 10 years in Georgia prison, so he's probably seen the rampant drug use. So what do you got, Justin?
So, like you said, and like I've been saying this for years, is like people get injured just every day. People, soccer moms, just normal people get injured, and these doctors just start feeding them all
Yeah,
these pills.
100%.
And then after a while, they finally just cut them off. And then these people are addicted to something, and they're like, "Well, where do I go? I need this. I need something. I need something." And then they go to the streets. And the next thing you know, these average people, these sports players, these soccer moms, they're addicted to heroin. So I really wish that the government and that the doctors would really come up with a better way to try to help people with pain besides feeding them with all these drugs and then take them off and then have them addicted and make them run to the streets looking for it. Um, so I mean, I hate seeing that. I hate seeing that. And then like how long were you addicted to pills before you switched over?
That's a good question, man. I would say probably let me just say ages. So probably from the age of like 17. It was just before my 17th birthday when I was given my first script of painkillers. I was actually given 2 different scripts, and that's the thing. Like, they've gotten better with it now, at least. But 10, 15 years ago, however long it was, I went to one hospital, they gave me a script of Vicodin. I went to the other hospital because the break was so bad they had to do surgery. They gave me a script of Percocet. So I'm a 16 going on 17-year-old kid who just had my whole hopes and dreams crushed of losing my whole junior year of football.
Jeez.
Sent home with 2 scripts of some of the most powerfully addictive substances known to man. Then to top it off, a week later, like, my girlfriend breaks up with me at the time, right? And to a 16-year-old kid, like, that's the end of the freaking world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No football, your girlfriend's gone. But these pills that I'm taking, they make me feel amazing. Like, they make me feel like I found God. And that's the thing with drugs, man, is a lot of, like, there might be people watching right now, like, well, Richie, how'd you get addicted to that? I took that stuff. I didn't like it at all. I took that stuff. I stopped the next day, right? Well, everybody reacts differently. Just like somebody watching may eat a freaking peanut and die, some people freaking love peanut butter and eat it every day, right? We all react differently to substances. And for me, that specific substance, like, if I were to pick that up at 6 years sober, like, I would go back out. Like, my mind would flip like that. And that's why I'm very avoidant of using any kind of narcotic substance, because my mind is just wired that way. If I were to take a Vicodin today, I'd be shooting heroin by tomorrow.
Is it like that for most people, having that extreme fear of you just falling right back on your face as soon as you touch it, compared to some people that are alcoholics that are not alcoholics because they don't drink anymore for 10 years? They pick up a beer once a night and then all of a sudden just fall back into it. Or is it more extreme because of the things that you were on?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I mean, everybody's different. There's always an exception to the rule, of course. But as a general rule, most people that were addicted to opiates won't be able to successfully use an opiate again. Now, there's exceptions, like my girlfriend, for example. She was addicted to prescription painkillers for a number of years. I don't think she ever went over to heroin, but she had to have her, like, appendix taken out recently, right? And it was a bad surgery. Like, she basically had to take painkillers. Like, they shot her up with some, like, Dilaudid in the hospital, and they sent her home with some Percocet. And obviously, we're both worried. Like, we know that this is like playing with fire, right?
It's got to hurt you too, just having it around, because the second you hand her a medicine, you got to have that reaction there.
Initially, yeah. Like, it gets easier with time, right? Like, I don't have that craving anymore, but, like, the first couple of years, yeah, you see it in front of you. Like, you really want to do it. But long story short, man, with her, it was basically like, even though they gave her that medication, she was still in the hospital room, like, crying, and, like, I've went through surgeries without painkillers before. Doing MMA, I've had my nose broke and stuff, and I've went through without painkillers. It freaking sucks. It's horrible. I wish I could take painkillers for 2 or 3 days, but, like, I just don't want to risk it. Now, her, it was rough. She went through a little bit of withdrawals for a couple of days, but she was okay, and she's fine now. I guess my advice, it's something, I'm glad you brought that topic, because not a lot of people talk about it. If you are addicted to some type of painkiller and you have to take it, have somebody freaking hold it for you, because if you don't, like, you're going to take the whole bottle, right away.
Yeah, and I think Justin actually hit it really well as doctors, and I've heard of many pain pill clinics where, doctors will stop trying to give it, so people run to pain pill clinics, and they'll find doctors that are corrupt because they're all about the money. And the problem is I think, and this is just my opinion, and I think some of y'all might agree, you might not agree, but I foresee the problem myself as doctors try to make a quick buck, but this pandemic where people start off on pain pills and then get addicted to other drugs is honestly the fault of doctors, corrupt doctors, not all doctors, but of the pharmaceutical companies and and the fact that you know they got you addicted. Now there are some people that just have that addictive personality, but I mean, God, who's to blame here? Is it the addict that winds up in jail, or is it the doctors that were trying to make a quick buck?
I mean, Mark, if you don't mind, I'll just jump in there real quick.
Yeah,
'cause
please.
I'm really glad you brought that up. So, not all the doctors knew that this stuff was as bad as it was, right? Like, I would say the primary fault of this falls on the pharmaceutical companies. Like, they legit put out bogus studies that OxyContin was less than 1% of people got addicted to it, right? They even had one study where they said out of 12,000 people, nobody got addicted to it. Another one, I think it was 14,000 people, and they said only 4 people got addicted to it, right? Well, they skewed the numbers, right? They were doing the study with people that were burn victims that took it for 3 days or less, right? And that's the way, like, you should use painkillers. If I break my arm and I'm not addicted to opiates, okay, maybe I take painkillers for a couple days. They were sending kids home like myself, 16-year-old kids with 30-day supplies of narcotics. And you have a pill bottle in front of your natural reactions, like, okay, I'm going to take this till it's gone. Like, that's what you're supposed to do, right? Doctors didn't give me any, like, specific instructions. I think a lot of the doctors didn't know it was that bad. Now, was there corrupt doctors that were trying to make that quick buck? Absolutely. You know, the interview I just did with the pharmacist from Netflix, he actually busted one of those doctors. She was, you know, handing out thousands and thousands of scripts to people that didn't need them so they could go sell them on the street, get other people addicted. And yeah, I mean, you know, for my case, at least, like, there's certain cases where addiction, you know, yeah, you might make a choice to try drugs, experiment with drugs, alcoholism. You might try and drink just like a lot of people, right? In my case, like, I made a choice to follow my doctor's orders. He said, take these pills until, you know, they're gone. And that's what I did. So.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And so, yeah, the pharmaceutical companies, the problem with pharmaceutical companies is they're billion-dollar companies. So they're paying all sorts of money to politicians and whatnot to not pick on them. And
not even as much as you think it would be either. If you look at actual deposits for some of these congressmen and stuff like that, you could buy a congressman for $5,000 to $10,000.
Okay, well, look for our fundraising page. It's going to be at the bottom of the link, so we can buy off a congressman ourselves.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Mark, do you care if I shout something out real quick?
Please do, brother.
Since you brought it up, man, that pharmacist from the Netflix is The Pharmacist. He started a group. I believe it's tunnelofhope.org. You can go and sign up. It's amazing because we're talking about congressmen getting bought out, right? Lobby groups. Like, we all know what goes down in Washington. Like, there's groups, NRA, pharmacy lobbies, whatever it may be. There's no group representing addiction or recovery, right? That's basically what he's starting. Like, we're trying to get 1 million members to tell congressmen, like, hey, if you don't, you know, provide proper funding for recovery, we will vote you out of office, right? And that's like the only thing that would actually make them listen. I love the freaking idea. He's already got a couple thousand members. I'm trying to do as much as I can to, like, help get that out there via social media. So if you guys want to check out tunnelofhope.org, it takes like literally 2 minutes to sign up. He'll send you emails basically keeping you up to date on what your local congressman's doing. And he can even send like pre-approved letters like that you can send to your congressman. So then, hey, they're not doing the right thing. Okay, they got 10,000 letters in their email, right? And that shows like the power of the votes. That makes sense. I thought it was like a groundbreaking thing, man. I was like, that's what we needed for so long.
Heck yeah. And every link we talk about today, I'm just going to go ahead and preface this, will be in the bio. So just, you don't have to write it down as Richie's talking about it. It'll be there.
And there also should be like a timeline thing. As I said during Real Men Talk Shit, Justin is on that stuff now. We're making sure timelines are down in the description. If you want to skip a topic because you can't hear about it, whether you dealt with personal experiences or your family member and it's just too hard to listen to, or even if you just want to skip the episode, go ahead. We love you. We love that you're still here. But there should be a timeline down in every description, whether that's RMTS or this show. There will be a description timeline just so we kind of have a basic idea of what we're talking about throughout the entire thing.
Great idea.
I did want to touch on this question that we talked about last week, and at least in my region, I live in upstate New York, there's a lot of these vans that come around and give out free needles, give out Narcan and stuff like that. Don't you feel like that is a way of enabling the continued use when we're experiencing an opioid pandemic? We're dealing with this every single day, whether you use or you don't use. How can we give out these needles that people are using to shoot up and turn a blind eye to it, or create crack houses essentially? And there's like 3 of them in my area that I can think of, where people can use it freely but not deal with the legal ramifications or the recovery ramifications of what we're doing in enabling those situations.
That's a great question and a very controversial topic. So I'll try and give you like a short answer, because that could be the topic of a whole video, right? I've done it before, talked about it. In short, this is my view on it, right? I would rather see money going to rehab and recovery resources over free needles, right? Like, that's me. I would rather see more rehabs out there, and the rehabs that are already out there, they need better levels of care. There's a lot of rehabs you can only go to for 5 days. Like, if you have no insurance, it's tough to get the proper help. You're not getting treated for your mental health. That's something that's still lacking for a lot of people that are either underinsured or have no insurance. If I have somebody come to me that has private insurance, I can get them on a plane to Florida tomorrow to some of the best rehabs in the entire country, right? And that's just your everyday person. Like, maybe your mom works in a factory. Okay, great. I can get you into a wonderful rehab. That's awesome. They got counselors, they got group therapy, EMDR therapy, which is trauma therapy. All those things are great. But not all of the Medicaid centers, they don't offer that. They're understaffed. They're not funded enough through Medicaid, right? So I would rather see the money go elsewhere. But I will say this, not that I'm defending it, not that like this is a hill I'm going to stand and die on, but from a numbers point of view, the needle exchanges, statistically, they do decrease the rates of HIV infection, hepatitis C infection, and it does lead to, not all, but like less needles that like your kids might like step on, right? Because they exchange the needles. They're supposed to. Not everyone does it. The other thing they've seen with needle exchanges is not everyone even uses them. Some people just choose to keep reusing the same old dirty needles for some reason, right? But the idea is basically, okay, do you want to pay for this person's Hep C treatment or HIV treatment for the rest of their life? Or would you rather spend several $1,000s so that they have needles until they're ready to get clean? That's the idea with it. Again, not that I necessarily agree with it. It's just kind of the concept, I guess.
No, it's just, I know it's controversial, but also at the same time, it's like, how many times do we instill that, hey, we're here to support you. We're here to make it safe for you. When those deterrents of it, like, I wouldn't use a needle. Just being honest, I wouldn't use any drug. I've been clean my entire life. Not saying I'm better, but just like my personal choices, that's how I am. How can we take away the negatives of the choice of that specific addiction and not say that it's going to affect the bottom line in a whole?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I mean, to put it like this, dude, like to this day, I hate getting blood taken. I hate needles. I've hated needles my entire life. Yet eventually I got so desperate to get high for cheaper that I would use a needle, right? I had to have other people use it for me for a while. So yeah, I never thought I would use a needle ever in my entire life, right? But I did, right? The other thing to keep in mind too is just because you are using dirty needles, or it may be harder to get needles, you're still going to find needles and you're still going to use dirty needles if you have nothing else to use, right? So that's kind of the concept with it, is like, they're going to do it anyway, right? So you might as well just let them have the clean needles. Now, again, not that I think that's the best model. I think we're missing a key component here, and that is to have, like, hey, when they come to the needle exchange, they should be getting pamphlets about rehab. They should have rehab beds waiting for them, right? And I do think there should be some, like, repercussions. Like, my thought is, instead of charging people with felonies for having like 1/10 of a gram of dope, like me, I have 5 felonies because I'm a drug addict. Like, literally, those are my felonies, is for being a drug addict, right? And then for forever, I can't work at, a nice factory or something, right? I don't think that that's fair. Not that I think drugs should be legal, but I think it should just be like a major misdemeanor. You give people 2 choices: either you go to rehab for 6 months or you go to jail for a year, and that's your choice, right?
And I was going to say, the law enforcement side of me says there needs to be some type of repercussions there. And listen, I'm all for putting people in rehab as an alternative to incarceration. However, how many, how, at what point, because we all know you go to rehab, a lot of people relapse. How many relapses do we allow before we start incarceration? And I don't know. What is your thought on that, brother? Because you've done the show 60 Days In. So, you see both sides of the picture.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a tough question. I honestly think as long as somebody's willing to go to treatment, they should give them a shot, right? Because I've seen people that have relapsed 30 times that today have 15 years sober and they've helped thousands of people, right? Myself, I've overdosed multiple times. And obviously now I help a lot of different people, right? But I do think that consequences are important. One way that I'm able to help people get into treatment, especially parents like trying to find help for their son or daughter, is I talk with them, and I talk with them about setting boundaries. I say, okay, if little Johnny will not agree to go to rehab, then you need to not give him money anymore so he can't buy the drugs. You need to not let him stay at your home anymore so he doesn't have, a comfortable place to sleep and eat. Yes, it's scary to kick your child out of the home, but he has just as much of a chance dying in your home as he does at a park bench, right? Consequences are important. One big reason why I got sober was I was facing 5 years in prison. Like, that did motivate me to try and do everything I could, right? Now, with that being said, if I would have had access to better resources, I would have got clean a lot sooner. There was lots of times I wanted to get clean. I just had no clue what the hell I was supposed to do it, right? So that's the catch-22 that's there. A lot of people do want to get clean.
Was there struggling with knowledge there?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, was there a struggle with knowledge there? Like when you were using because of taking medicine and stuff? Like I remember taking them when I broke my arm or even my neck surgery. Like I understand that want to like get rid of the pain and stuff like that. Did you have your mom or your dad there that was supporting you? Hey, you got to stop using this. Hey, you got to do better. Or was it just the doctor told you to take it?
So, I mean, my addiction started with the prescription painkillers, but I mean, eventually, like I wasn't prescribed them anymore, right? So I was kind of just doing them like behind my mom's back. Like I hid my addiction very well for a long time. Like people knew there was something going on with me because I was missing a ton of school and, I quit the football team and all this different stuff, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, I guess to answer your question shortly, towards the end of my run, when my mom figured out what was going on, yeah, she was trying to encourage me to get clean. She wanted me to get clean. We just didn't know how. Like back then, I thought rehab was only something for like celebrities or rich people. Like I didn't know that my mom's insurance for Whirlpool could pay for me to go to a really nice treatment center. I had no freaking clue about that. I went to one rehab during my whole time, and it was a place that was 45 minutes from my house. It was the place that everybody went. I was there for a couple days. They sent me home with a script of Suboxone, which is another opiate. I used it to get high, and I sold it for more drugs. Like I didn't get real help there, and that's the problem with some of these places. They don't offer real help.
I remember when I was still working, somebody was sitting there using Suboxone when we were working and stumbling over every single sentence, and he was dissolving the pills in his mouth. And it's just like, you can't be doing that stuff when you're at work, man. You can't be doing that stuff in life in general. But just because you're sad or just because you're feeling something, and I mean this to everybody, you need to get help. If you're using anything as essentially an addiction to deal with your pain or something like that, you got to get that help.
So like earlier you were talking about like having sorry. So okay.
No worries.
So like after you've been addicted and then like you've been clean for a while and then like you have the feeling of wanting to do it and like you can't be around it, you can't be around people who have done it. And like how hard is that to be around people who are addicted and working with them nowadays?
That's a great question. I mean, in short, like when I first got clean, they always tell you like you got to change your people, places, and things. That's one reason I recommend people, if you can leave state for treatment, freaking leave state. You don't want to get clean with a bunch of people you used to get high with. You don't want to run into your old drug dealer at rehab, right? So for me, it was very isolating, and that's one thing that caused me to not get clean for so long. Because when I tried to get clean, all of my friends that like were doing something with their life, they moved away, they went to college, they started to have families, or they didn't want to hang out with me because I was a freaking drug addict. I don't blame them. I wasn't the best person back then, right? the only people I had to hang out with were the people that were getting high. So I would like go to jail, get clean, get out, be like, wow, I feel great. I'm so happy. I don't want to use drugs anymore, right? I'd hang out with my mom for 2 weeks, and I love my mom, but like, you know, when you're a 22-year-old kid, you don't want to only hang out with your mom. So eventually I'd go hang out with my old using friends with every intention of not getting high. I'd even go there and be like, guys, I'm clean now. You guys should get clean too. I feel so good. And they're like, yeah, okay, dude. And then like 2 days later, like I'm getting high because I'm around it, right? And that's just going to happen. So, you know, the first year is the hardest. But if you put the work in, you do the counseling, you do the steps, usually after the first year, the cravings will, you know, almost disappear. Some people are different. Some people will still struggle for a while, especially if they don't put the work in. But for me, about a year and a half in, like I could be around people that were using and it no longer bothered me. When I did the show, 60 Days in Narcoland, I had people getting high in front of me constantly, doing drugs, offering me cocaine, trying to get me to drink with them, all this different stuff, right? And I like not once did I be like, you know what, I missed that. That sounds like a great time. I really didn't want to. Like my mind had healed at that point. I had lots of coping mechanisms, and like I just lived such a great life that like, why would I trade that for drugs? You know, I was like actually happy. But that took time though. Like 6 months in, if I would have done that, yeah, I would have used right away for sure.
Well, hey, listen, real quick. There was a person that went viral all over Facebook, Instagram, all those different places. His name was Cody. I don't know if y'all remember him, but he was a very sickly looking guy, and he was addicted to drugs. And we're gonna have to throw up a picture or something because I'm sure you'll remember the picture, the addicted picture. What I want you to do is let's talk about Cody, because I know that you're the one that stepped in. Like this guy went national, if not international, with his issues, and you're the one that stepped in and got him rehab, and you got him a scholarship. Can you update us?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me throw the picture up on screen for you guys real quick. It'll just take 1 second. All right, can you guys see it?
Nah. Okay, yeah.
Let me fix it. Yeah. There, I'll make it full screen real quick and zoom in just so people can see. Like a lot of viewers may recognize him because that picture did go super viral. Like his mom was looking for him for a long time, couldn't find him. And, you know, I made a post trying to, you know, help her find him. And eventually they did. And, you know, they reach out to me and, you know, they're trying to find him some help. And trying to think how much of this I want to say. They reached out to a TV show, right? And the TV show, long story short, sent him money, and basically it was setting it up so that they could film him and his girlfriend like getting high and panhandling and all this. Like it was going to be like several days, if not a week or two, of them still getting high just so they could film it for TV, right? And you know, when they told me that, I was like, that's not cool. Like this kid could freaking die. Like he's already dying, right? So I called up the treatment center that I worked for at that time. I was like, listen, this kid's story is powerful. He seems like a great kid. His mom's a freaking sweetheart. Reminded me of my mom. I said, we got to do something about this. So we got him a scholarship. We got him on a plane, got him out to treatment. And he did really, really good for a while. This story you're talking about actually happened last year.
Yeah.
Around this time last year. He did really well for a while. He was clean for, I think, maybe 6 months. I can't remember. Long story short, COVID happened. And like a lot of Americans across the country that struggle with mental health or addiction issues, this quarantine has absolutely crushed people in the recovery community because he lost access to his meetings. He lost access to the gym. He lost access to his in-person counseling appointments, right? And he's early in recovery. He has less than a year. He's not like me where I'm established. I can survive something like that. It's very hard for people during this quarantine. So long story short, he relapsed. He went out for a while, and I recently got him a scholarship in another place. Now he's got 90 days clean again. So
nice.
See him come back. And then that's an important thing too, Mark. I just want to mention this real quick that look, relapse isn't a part of recovery, but relapse is a part of addiction. And addiction's a tough thing. Most of us, we're not going to get it our first time. We're usually not even going to get it our first 2 or 3 times. The important thing is like if someone relapses or they slip or they mess up and they use, you got to be honest with at least one person. You got to be honest with one person, because I've seen people, they've slipped for a day or two. They tell me or somebody else they trust. I talk to them. We get them to some meetings to get them back into counseling. And then they're okay. Like they don't have to go back out and use for 3 or 4 months. Like they can go back to normal life, right?
Yeah.
You just got to catch it right away. It's when people try and hide it for a month or two, it's really hard to get them back.
So that's that accountability partner that you need, is for the sake
Absolutely.
of. But hey, listen,
And-
we are going to bring this to a close because we're about at our time, and plus we have an interview after this interview. But listen, how can people find you if they want to find you? Shout out everything that you want us to know.
Yeah. Okay, so Facebook, you go to facebook.com/Richie, RICHIE, Webber, WEBBER, Recovery. That's Richie Webber Recovery. On Facebook, you can look me up. Please, if you want to contact me, please hit the send message button at the top of my page. That's the fastest way to get in contact with me. I'm usually able to respond to people within a few hours. If you don't hear from me within 6 or 7 hours, feel free to send me a friendly message just saying, hey, making sure you got my message. Sometimes I'm doing human stuff like eating or showering or playing with my daughter. But typically I get back to people pretty freaking quick. And I have access to detox, rehab, recovery resources across the entire country. Whether you have insurance or not, I can find something. And even if your loved one says that they don't want help, or maybe you're not ready for help, still message me. We can still plant that seed and work towards getting them some help.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today, Richie. I really do appreciate you. Hey,
Thank you, man.
If you like our channel, as we always talk about, hit awkwardly fist bump that subscribe button, hit the notify bell,
Fist bump it.
boom, fist bump, boom. But go ahead and hit subscribe, like, share. If you believe in our channel, you can also become a Patreon member. That link's going to be in the bottom, and it'll help us get better sound equipment. It'll help us get better lighting, stuff like that. We love you guys. We will talk to y'all later. Boom.
All right. See ya.